Welcome to the tutorial on your eTimeclock, also referred to as a web clock or PC clock. If you're able to use this, you will be given a URL, and when entering that URL and pressing enter, you'll be taken to the login page. You'll be able to put in your card ID or badge ID that will be given to you by your supervisor. You may or may not be prompted for a PIN after this. It just depends on company policy. But we're entering our badge ID and we click the green check mark, and that brings us to our PC clock. Now there's a lot of functionality in this clock. PTO requests, the bank, scheduling, timesheet entry, bulk transactions. I'll be going over bulk transactions and timesheet entry after the main functions so that I don't have to tie anybody up that's not needing that. So being logged in, my options are to start my shift, leave for lunch, return from lunch, or end my shift. I know right now that I'm clocked in and the date and time that I'm clocked in. So right now, since I'm already clocked in, I can do lunch leave. I see here my punch was accepted, and this is my status. Some people may be limited in the amount of time they have to take for their lunch before they're allowed to clock back in. And if I try to clock back in too early, it's going to tell me minimum time not met. If I forget that I've punched in and I don't read what's going on here and I try to click again within the same minute, I'm going to get duplicated punch. Please try again later. Could just be up to 1 minute, it could be 4 or 5 minutes, it depends on the settings, but this is telling me that I've already punched in. So anything I try to click other than out is going to tell me duplicated punch. My PTO request is here, my view timesheets is here. I can also click on the dashes at the top and get to PTO requests or PTO banks or the view timesheets from my menu items as well. So when I click on PTO request, I can see in my calendar I've been approved for PTO for 4 or 8 hours on the 15th, sick on the 25th. I can see this one is still pending. In other words, my supervisor or manager has not approved my request for this day. I can see different months on things that have been requested. This day has been denied. I can also view things in different years if I need to find out what was going on at a specific time if I'm troubleshooting my timesheet. To add a new request, I just click Add New PTO Request, and again I can do that right from here or go to my list and come right back here and do the same. So Add New PTO Request. I need a start date, and we'll do August. Number of hours per day. A note, if I wanted to put one in, my supervisor would be able to see my note. And then the bank that I want to use. I would then generate the request. I've got one additional chance to modify this if this doesn't look right. If it does look right, I can click confirm it. And it's generated. Now bear in mind, my balance is not going to change until the request is approved. Once that request is approved, it will deduct the 8 hours from my balance. If I need a partial day, I can select the day, and I'm going to uncheck all day, and I'm going to put in the time that I want to start my leave. Oops. and the number of hours that I want to take. So 4 hours starting at 12 on the 19th, and maybe we'll do sick time. Now, this particular setup, sick time must be taken in increments of 1. I couldn't do like 0.50 or 3.75 as you've seen before. My other bank, PTO, allowed me to enter it in, and I could do 4.5. So it depends on your company policies as to what this is going to do for you. So I'll just come back to sick, choose my 4 hours, starting at noon, generate, looks good, I confirm it, and now it goes off to my supervisor to be approved. Up here, I can click on the dashes and click PTO banks and be able to view what is in my banks. Remember, this balance is only what has been approved or already taken throughout the year. This does not reflect any pending time off that you have in the system currently. Next, we've got our view timesheets, which I'm going to click right up here where the arrow turns into a pointer, and that takes me right back to my home screen, and I can click view timesheets. No particular reason, I just wanted to show you that. Click view timesheets, and here I can see what I've worked. These are bulk entries that were done on a bulk timesheet. Normally I would expect, if you're just clocking in and out, the punch type would be the letter C, like Charlie, and that means closed. It means we have a start, it means we have a finished, and closed means it came from you using either the web clock, the mobile app, or a time clock. I might see something that says E, like edited, and that's what that means. One or both of these punches have been added or modified by my supervisor. Here's the C, it's a closed punch, that means it came directly from me and not from anybody else. Down below I can see the total for the pay period. If it's just a weekly pay period, you're only going to have week 1, and week 1 and the total will always be the same. This is a bi-weekly pay period, so I can see by clicking on week 1 how many hours I worked in that week. I can click on week 2 and see how many hours I worked on that week. Total being paid is 20.23 hours. Of that, I worked 12.23. 8 of it was not worked, and of those 8 that weren't worked, it was personal. If I had sick, vacation, or other things, holiday or something like that, it would list those down here as well. Unpaid is typically going to be your lunch. Right here I can see I took a half hour of lunch. The dollars would be something that was entered to your timesheet, like bonus, tip, commission. This is not pay rate times hours worked. So for most people, that's just always going to be zeros. Now, if I want a better breakdown, maybe I want to see where my overtime hits, if I have overtime, different things like that, I can just click print timesheet. That brings this up, and I can see the first week, my totals, overtime, double time, total paid, total worked. Remember, total worked are just the hours spent working. Total paid would be the hours I spent working plus holiday, sick, vacation, anything like that would be under that time here, as well as the total worked. So this just separates what you worked, and then it adds in your work plus any paid time away to this column right here. I can see what I've got on week 2. Again, my totals down here, and then my totals overall for everything down here at the bottom. If I wanted, I could print this out. If my browser allows, I could come over here and select Save as PDF. If I'm done with this, I'll just click Return, and that brings me right back here. Now, normally you're going to be approving your timesheet, or at least looking at the one that's completed, which is going to be 525 to 67 in this case. This is what was worked or what it was given. If everything looks good, I check my incomplete punches or exceptions. I see this one's from March. These are from June 9th, so it's not a big deal because those are not in the current pay period here that I'm going to approve. But you should be aware if there's a missing punch, that means you're not getting paid for this time. So you need to report to your supervisor, hey, I clocked in on the 3rd at 7:54, forgot to clock out, the time I left was 5 p.m., whatever the case may be, so that they can get that put in for you. Now, if this looks good and it's what I'm expecting, I can click approve. I can agree to the attestation and click OK. My pay period has been resolved. Resolved means I've approved it, I've looked at it, it's okay. Now, I'm able to revert this. If I suddenly remember I made a mistake, I was out on vacation on the 2nd, I can revert this and it'll go back into an unapproved status, if you will, and I can let my supervisor know. They can then go ahead and put in what needs to be put in. I can review it, and then if that looks good, I can approve it. Now, once a supervisor approves my timesheet or the admin approves the timesheet, I no longer have the ability to revert it. I would have to go and talk to them about what's going on, and hopefully payroll hasn't been processed yet. So that's the overview of the web clock, if you will. Next, we're going to be going to the, well, I can say the scheduling here. That can apply to anybody. Most people don't use scheduling, but if they do, this is what it's going to look like. I can see what my schedule is for the upcoming week here. The next we want to do is the timesheet entry and the bulk transactions. For the timesheet entry, it's basically adding a single transaction for a day. I can see ones that have been added down here, and I can edit those up until the point I can't. That could be the day after the pay period. It could be 2 days after the transaction was entered. Again, that depends on company policy. But to add a transaction, I just click add new transaction. And I want to make sure I'm using the right transaction type. This is the default, but if I click this, I could add a bulk or I could add a PTO transaction. This depends on what options that your company wants you to add in. So there could be different things in here, or maybe no PTO transaction. Maybe it's just bulk, who knows. But in this scenario, we've got in, out, bulk, and PTO. So for an in, out, we would choose our start date. And we'll just do the 18th, pretending I already know what I'm going to be working. This will always transfer to the end date, but if I'm working over midnight, I would need to come in and modify this to the next day just by clicking on the calendar and choosing it. End time, go ahead and put that in. Took half-hour lunch. Notes are not required. So if they're available here, they're simply for your use if you need to pass something, information concerning this transaction into it. So if that looks good, I just click save, added successfully. We see it down here. I could add another one. The bulk transaction, all I need is a start date and a start time and the number of hours. PTO transactions, same thing, except I'm going to choose the bank. Now for that bulk, I didn't mention, but you could be choosing other options in here if necessary. But back to the PTO, go to the start date, we'll do the 20th. I normally start, say, at 8 a.m. Well, we'll just use 8:22 a.m. And 8 hours. My note and save. Transaction added successfully. So that was in for bereavement. So that's the overview of the timesheet entry. The next is going to be the bulk transactions. I've already added some in here, but I want to add more. Maybe I want to put in this week over here. So although I have a plus right here, if I try to add bulk time, it's going to tell me no, I can't do two entries with the same thing. All of my bulk time needs to go on this single line. If I had waiting time, that's not in here, so I could utilize waiting time and put in the day, the number of hours that I had waiting time in this scenario. If I just need to add hours for the rest of the week here, I'm just going to click on the bulk time line. That brings it into edit mode, and I can just add how many ever hours I worked for that specific day, or use the little arrows up here to do it if I want. Now, if I worked on Thursday, I need to put a start time. My template here, I don't typically work on Thursdays, but if I do, again, I need a start time, and then I can add the number of hours. Once I've got them all added as need be, I come over here and click on the green check mark, and that saves these into my timesheet. My daily totals are here. My weekly totals are here and here. My total for the pay period is here. If this is something I normally do on a regular basis, I can save this as a template, and then when I come back here, I can load my template and just go in and add the times for the days that I typically work. So that's all there is as far as the bulk timesheet entry. Again, you could have different types of entries. Here I've got training, work, bulk time, PTO, bereavement, but it depends on your company structure and the things that they need you to enter in. When you're finished, you can simply click log off and close out the screen, and you're done. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps.